For me, or rough property. One way, here, Miller, here. Right, here. Mitchell, yeah, here. Schmeckel, here. Edwards, here. Kingdom. Excuse. That's the next thing. You're welcome. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Thank you. Thanks for allowing us to live in this wonderful community. It is loaded with wonderful people who go out of their way to help others. And we ask that you guide us tonight in the business of the village of Roscommon. Amen. Thank you, Dan. Next item is 1.25 approval of absence. May I get approval of Kurt's absence, please?
Make a motion to approve this absence.
I got a first, I get a second. I'll second. You got first, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passed. Next item is 1.5, President Pro Tem. I talked to Brian earlier, and I asked if you'd be interested in President Pro Tem for this year, and I believe he said he would. So Brian Logan is our President Pro Tem. Here you go, Brian. Next item is approval of consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda with the bill to be paid in sum of $81,123.13.
Yeah, first, negative, second.
That includes the payoff for the stipends.
$81,100 and
Sorry, $81,123.13. Will be a tractor.
okay, I got a first and a second. Roll call, please. Oh, sorry, any discussion?
Sorry, I'm just, because I do see a number of errors in our meeting minutes. I just wanted to go over. The one is very simple. It just, this project we were working, it's under unfinished business and it's about the lead and galvanized reports. It says working on with Eagle. It's actually EGLE, so it's not like the third Eagle. And then new business, actually right above new business, and then the two under new business, it has me as doing saying yes, and I was not here. So there were three things that it says I said eight eyes for, and I was not at the separate meeting.
Yeah, we got all of them, so.
Yeah.
When I would put the image in the office, it probably didn't want to copy.
Okay.
She wanted to do it.
Okay. Then there is the motion by Miller, seconded by Edwards to approve the investor. That was the November meeting. That once not done, some unless you did it again. That should have been the November meeting. And then the only question I had was under the economic director's report. It says that Dan asked for a special meeting regarding the redstone housing, and it says it's scheduled. Yeah, so I just confused. A meeting is scheduled. We didn't have like a date or time or anything, so that just seemed confusing. Okay. All right. Sorry, almost stopped. And then the planning commission under public comment, there's this little lip about the sale of 3 industrial park lots or to be completed soon. I don't think we had ever had that information given to us, and I just was making sure that it was like the policy for sale.
There's nothing coming above this
Okay,
table.
all right, perfect. That's, yeah, I just like I got the grading with all that, just making sure that.
You're right.
All right, and that's okay, like, I wasn't here, so I wasn't sure how. Okay, I think that's all.
Okay, we have discussion? Thank you.
Okay, Miller. Bishop,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Tito, Brody. Yes. Edwards. Yeah. That's right. Yes.
Okay, next item will be approval of regular agenda. Can I get a motion?
Make the motion to approve the regular agenda.
Wait a second.
Can I get a second then? I got a first, second, any discussion? If not, no comment? Ready?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Ludwig?
Yes.
Miller? Yeah. Pinto? Brett?
Yes.
Okay, next item is manager.
Welcome, everyone. Couple things here, just to cover at the pavilion. I'm not sure if I said that last month or not. The Top Notch has been notified they're gonna put in a timer on that light system there. They, they're gonna send me an invoice, I'm hoping this week, and, but they have us on their schedule to go ahead and get the timer. What that timer's for is the lights under pavilion, kids that are utilizing that, ice skating rink. So the lights click on a certain time, click off a certain time, just so, last person to get to turn the lights off or just kind of counts like that. Nor do we want people, they have 1 o'clock in the morning, kind of. So it's like the, 5 to 10, I'll have to get with Dory soon to certain times they want to, but that should be done hopefully. The Hiawatha project right now, we're just waiting for the final paperwork to come through. We're starting to get some of that. Today there is a checklist we have to go through in order to make sure everything is balanced and all set for water. So hopefully we can wrap that up here in the next week or two and wash our hands of that project. Everyone's sitting down. Last week, maybe the week before that, late, I communicated with State Farm Insurance again about the spruce. I let them know that it's been over a year. I let them know that not only the State Bureau of Insurance investigator found error in their procedure, but also the investigator that looks into claims for State Farm found that same error. They had told me that they had 15 days after a fire to release money to us or the owner can get their own contract. And they told me on 3 occasions that they had gotten their own contract. I asked for a copy of that contract and never could get my hands on it. Well, the state inspector and state farm inspector both couldn't find it, and they said no such document ever existed. So someone was trying to brush me off, or whatever. So, point blank, I felt that we were lied to, and so I wrote a not so nice letter to them. I'll admit that. We use any profanity, but there was threats there. And 2 days later, I got a check with mail, $5,000. What they wanted me to do is get an up-to-date bid on what it cost to demo that project. So State Farm said when the initial fire happened, 2 companies bid on it. The one that got the bid, and then one called Mad Dog Demolition Improvement. they wanted me to go back to Mad Dog versus reopen it. You know, I said, hey, it's only fair they put their name in initially. So they gave me a updated, bid of $105,000. The only part that they said that they can't justify at this time is the basement, because they can't see the basement, how big it is and how much it's gonna cost to demo that. So State Farm's aware of that. So State Farm submitted a check. I have notified the previous uh contractor and let him know he's no longer on the job and that we have someone else there. We have had 2 meetings now with this company. We're supposed to have another one maybe tomorrow to outline what they're going to do and when it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen this week. That road is going to be blocked off from George Street to Lake Street along Main Street there. And then while the demolitions, those get knocked down, we're gonna knock it off of Main Street to Sixth Street, you know, eliminate that just so no debris flies out on the road and keep people and vehicles back. So, the gentleman said that he's finishing up a job right now. When he is, saying that, his hard line date is Thursday, but, he's hoping to get in there sooner. So as you drove by, you see a couple larger pieces of equipment there. So he's getting ready to go. He has stopped and got a demolition permit. We have, contacted MDOT, contacted the sheriff department, contact all the residents along that area, just to let them know that we're working and pulling in there and such. So, you know, I think we're getting close. The only thing I told the contractor that he needs to do is notify Miss Dig. There's nothing there, but yet if there happens to be something there that we're not aware of, and we tell them to go ahead, now we're liable, so they can go ahead and take care of that themselves. So keep your fingers crossed. I don't want you to get too excited. Keep us on Facebook and stuff like that for now until we start seeing building going down. But hopefully it'll happen this week. So we're excited about that.
Well, I heard about the green something. Coming down Tuesday.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all over town.
yeah.
Like, people know, you can't use it here right now.
Great take. I mean, did you have any idea?
Okay, no, I don't want anything.
This is I'll be in and out in 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
I'm very close to 10 days. You know, he's gonna use semi trucks to haul the debris out. So it's just gonna depend how it comes down and then getting in that basement area. There's a foundation obviously we want to take note. He may have to give me a bid on that. So I'm working with that number with the owner to see how we can get additional money. So anyway, keep your fingers crossed.
When you say, so Mad Dog and this other demo place were bids that the owner had originally reached out to.
State Farm, you know, the owner now touched with her friend to go ahead and bid on it. And so that bid came in quite a bit lower.
Then nothing ever came
Yeah,
out.
yeah, so I think they may have took them for 3 dumpsters out of here. In most senses, debris on the ground, but in the meantime, we probably accumulated 4 dumpsters of tires and everything else that been dropped off, you know, so. So hopefully that's coming. Some other good news, and Jennifer kind of beat me to it here. Ryan Savage has told me he'd like to purchase 3 lots in the industrial park. And those 3 lots are right in the line where we just keep that water and sewer in. So if you're standing at Newcraft and you're looking south and you go up the Square Road, it would be the last 3 lots on your left. So,
Across from Sheffield?
Shefty's on the right, yeah, across the street, yeah. So anyway, Ryan has been talking to me, for some time, about these lots. So I quoted him a price before we put in the infrastructure. I'm honoring that price. even though that, I just feel so on your right, to do that. And, like, those lads are making us anything now, but he wants to put in, Ryan runs a heating and air conditioning and plumbing, business. They'd like to put in a building, this one lot to store his equipment and such, and there was gonna be an office area, so, he plans to get going on that sometime this spring.
He lives right up the road, the other side of the river, on 18. At least that's where his father had that business and he died.
Yes, yes.
Government,
So hopefully, for our next meeting, I'll have a copy it needs to be posted in the paper with stating the lot description, the amount and stuff like this, and then that, will end up coming to you for, approval. Fran and I just kind of basically talked about that today. I gotta look at that to make sure everything's followed.
there was a guy from Brilliant, he had bought one of those lots and then he still owns it. Does he still own it?
Yeah.
He put in a culvert there.
Yeah.
And then we never heard from him.
I've reached out to him several times, saying he wants to sell it back, the original list, and he hasn't responded, so.
Was there some stipulation yet? Something with it ever so long?
I'd have to go, but if the announcement, yeah, but very matter of
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Maybe he had for years, yeah.
Well, so, yes, the original Dave wants to, when he bought it, he put the culvert in, so that was first. Accurate, and that, whatever, there's from then on that person there, all over. It's been 7 years. Oh, 6, and then I don't care.
On your desk, you'll see a little map. It does not involve the village, but this is where consumer energy is gonna go around and do some tree trimming. With that ice storm we've had here. Year ago, there's been a lot of broken branches and limbs that are starting to come down, so they're gonna kind of get to that area. I just offered that because it might be somewhere, where you may know someone who's standing there, it was kind of a FYI on it. And, but now it's all there. Okay.
So on the spruce, they're not closing 18 at all.
They're
They're gonna close 18.
gonna
Close 18.
holding some range of size.
Okay.
And it's not, you're not gonna close one, they're gonna close. And they'll be closed while the building is actually going down. Once the building is down.
Any questions for Ron? Not anything.
With the lots for sale for Ryan Sabbath, will the public hearing just be then like
Prior to.
one of our regulations?
That's what we've done in advance.
Okay. If no more questions for Ron, we'll move on to public acknowledgement and agenda items to in for speaking. And Mr. Dixon, I know you got something. Sure. Okay, next item then we'll go to unofficial business, DPW report, Mr. Alden.
All right, not much, you're not, and I don't want to make this sound like the DPW's not doing it, but, they continue, as I think last time, the wastewater treatment plant has quit the starting, as a concern soon being. They've been working, endless hours on not only, roads and sidewalks, but then cleaning up piles of snow that, make it, invisibility for on corners and stuff. Doing a lot of work in that. They have spread over 23 yards of sand and 22 yards of salt. The only reason I'm sharing that is that if anyone ever asks you about the salt, we try to use a 50-50 ratio where it's not all just salt, 50 yards and such. It's saying that it does make things maybe a little more dirtier in the spring. Things start to melt, but you can still sweep the roads down and get that taken care of. You'll get more of a salt road than anything else. So anyways, it's probably a little more friendly for vehicles. The guys have been working with me with this whole demolition. Gary and Doug both have sat in on the meetings with with not only Les Moore, the owner of Mad Dog Demolition, but Doug, and I think his last name, he's the project manager, so. So I've never had a company that wanted me so much, and you know, they showed up to me on Friday, which they forgot we were closed on Friday, you know, and I said, well, I thought we said it was on Tuesday, so anyway, we're gonna meet tomorrow to get that taken care of, so we're really excited about that. That's what we got.
Any questions for Ron on the DPW report? If not,
Wanted to say no, I mean,
Oh, I've already complimented the DPW, but Sunday night, they were out down our streets at midnight or something. Because different people told me, I said, yeah, I know, I heard them run by my house. And I know it wasn't the county. No, it's my, well, that's it.
no, the one, that's what it was, what documents chatting on the snow on Monday. Started 1:30 afternoon, Common County Road Commission was out doing the road. But then they went until like 8:30.
Yeah, Saturday, this is a week ago, and the village trucks were out. Built at midnight, but I complimented them.
And they were on, Sunday morning. DPW truck.
there's a lot of times our guys will plow all night long. Less traffic, less back around, they kind of implement things and take care of it, so sometimes they'll go burn midnight oil just get things going, but what they'll do is if they work their 8 hours plowing, then they'll take that, they need our 30 off.
Yeah, no problem. He just makes us keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, next item will be economic direct report. You're Ellen, but he's not here, so I don't, who can do the work. Amanda, do you want to, or?
I leave a whole lot off other than a little bit of, he's starting to, 2/3 is, that top up and change some of the, download some of his files and kind of get things set up for, the person to take over, so. Jim is out in Arizona visiting his daughter and grandchildren right now, and he will be back next week.
Yeah, I can compliment it. Jim was in charge of I assume Jim was in charge of the Shamrock. And I didn't come to it because it was 18 degrees. I could hear the music, and then somebody posted on Facebook, so I was sitting at home by the heat, and they could see the band inside one of the windows. They had one of the windows. They're inside the window. Checking it out through speakers out in the street. And I sent that down to Pennsylvania because my hometown of Dillsburg, which is also Dill, it's an Irish town too. They have a trickle route. Thanks. So I sent it back down there. Got some good stuff.
The Shamrock crop did do very well for being as cold as the one who did have like,
Yeah.
Okay, next item will be the Redstone update. Just Amanda.
Hello. Okay. So last month, I think the last update I gave, everyone's hopes were up before the holidays hit, and the holidays slowed, we're down. So we took time off. We got together with Redstone, last week, just kind of figure out where we at, and kind of what's next. They still have some costing stuff. We're still working on, grant application. We're still waiting on our lawyer that Ron's working with for the development agreement. And so everything's started converging, but we're trying to get all the pieces together. And that's part of why I've been able to schedule the meeting yet to kind of do a deep dive with them. We just want to make sure we have kind of those ducks in a row, the context and information for you guys to take a look at. So that's all progressing. I don't have believe anything net new on that other than it's still being worked on. But available for anyone has any questions that have come up that you want us to take back or thoughts.
Okay, we got any questions from it?
I'm sorry. No.
Elevator question. You had asked elevator question before. It's not an elevator required for. Will not be one thing.
And my other one, of course, is. Excuse me, I was in. My other one is, short-term rentals. Shepke told me this a long time ago. His first house, his first mortgage, they wouldn't give him a mortgage unless the house he was buying was primary residence. And this is a big issue in Garrish Township right now. I don't know if they're meeting this week or next week.
Yeah, they got their ordinance update. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a big issue, and there's there's swaying back and forth, for and opposed to it. And I'm just wondering about this property here. If we're gonna do it, we gotta do it. If we're gonna do it, we can't change it. I'm looking at, I'm looking at negatives. You don't look at a negative, they can come and hit you over the head.
Yeah.
Investors, we know, just looking at our national government run by millionaires, we know that. And what about investors downstate looking for a place to dump some money? They can buy houses here and rent them out on the weekend. I mean, this is a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's something that maybe we should talk to Garrish and see what their issues are, because they've got some issues there.
Well, I think what the council needs to look at is their own policy, their own ordinance that that's that, and that's how, a few years back when I sat in with all of the townships on that short-term rental, I mean, every township has different needs and different scenarios, I mean, would I want somewhere that's for me every weekend I kind of want it for, and I know I wouldn't. There's some townships that are not as they don't have the budget where they're close in, but when we talk about our Airbnbs at that time, I think we had 5 and they're along the river, but I think that maybe this council needs to look at this to be cautious over the whole, and to avoid situations before they occur. So I think we're a bit old, just talk about it. And, even look at
I'm not trying to be a maker here. I'm just bringing up that one. Not in rain.
Okay. There's some more across the county too, but different townships that have done different things too. So if you're researching or looking into that, there's other ones that not found township and then there's a couple of the others. It's okay, it comes up at every regional township association meeting.
I'm always looking at, why didn't I think of this before my group came in or something? Yeah, seems like I'm always a step behind being ahead of those. I was thinking that, tragedies happening.
Right.
Sharing a quick.
Somewhat of a question, yeah. So more of a statement to begin with. So on December, I had a video chat with Tom and Rick, the co-owners of Forest Dunes, to get an idea because they obviously had a project out there with Redstone. To get an idea of how things went with their project. It's something that if we are going to the special meeting, I'll go into more detail about that call. Overall, it was kind of a great experience for them, but like I said, I'll go into more detail. I'm just curious, how much vetting have we done on Redstone before getting so involved with them? All of that would predate me, more likely with Ron and Jim talking with them before I started. Mostly on the Forest Dunes one, we had to talk with David about that. David Stevens, who's the VP of their development. And Forest Dunes is not paying them. So they've held back payment for some punch list items that were like warranty items at the end of the project. So that's why they're at a standstill. That's not something that Redstone said they've ever experienced, but that's true. We don't know, but that's what they've stated to us. So there was some complications in there. They owe them $600,000 at this point for students does. So we got, and that's where like we got the emphasis for it. That they Redstone isn't paying for the lots that they purchased with. Again, that's one of those things that you get 2 different sides of stories. So So yeah, I just wonder like how deep like, did we look into Redstone and they have 3 projects that are either in, well, in certain phases or done down in the, Grand Rapids area. Like, I reached out to the contact points for those. I haven't heard back from any of them yet, but like, just how much vetting did we do before we're like, hey, let's do a huge project and meet people? Because one of the issues that, and Maureen was available and willing to get on that call with me as well. And she wanted to make it clear that she was there just not representing council, although I feel like as council, we should be talking to the public and talking about things like this. So, that was just a little. Anyway, she was on there with me and
I just wanted to, without consulting with the council first, I just felt uncomfortable saying that. I would prefer that we all talk about it and then we go. And then we can say, yes, I'm speaking for Brian, I'm speaking for Wayne. You know what I mean?
Any director from the council to go ahead and make that phone call.
Yeah, that's all I can.
I understand that side of it, but I also understand that like. I feel like sometimes we don't understand our role as a council, because I feel like it's important. I mean, we can't involve everybody because then we're violating the Open Meetings Act, but like being able to talk to somebody that has been in touch with, has had projects with this company, reaching out saying, how was your experience with them? I feel like is a valid thing for a council member to do, representing themselves as a council member. I'm sorry, I totally lost what I was going to say.
Oh, the vetting, I guess, in Ron and Jim that started that relationship, so I'm not sure what had happened before I started. I don't know, Ron, if you want to be comments about the vetting.
Well, and all that I have to say here, but when you're out there representing this council, authorization are not the nice. That is not the role of the council. You guys hire me to do a job. If you want to advise me to look into those situations, and that's what I'll do. We have called into when I looked at one of the gentlemen, I forget his name, he was at a earlier meeting, he talked about, but look at some of the remarks that came back. And so when we look into that, when you think about Redstone, they have a lot of apartments. Not everyone pays their bills on time. And so when they don't pay the bills on time, the person necessarily is not writing them a favorable response, you know. So a lot of those came into that. Here we go. Amanda and I will be going down and visiting some of the sites. And asking some questions, you know, because I think they, of course, yes. And I know and talking to Redstone over the and talking to people from that area that knows that business. I have had everyone talk very happily. So I don't have any questions about their ability of them coming through at this time, but there's still, we want to look at the craftsmanship. We want to look at the finished project. We want to look at the timelines to make sure that when you start the project down, it follows the same timeline as we're hoping for. And looking at that, we also have things of management keeping their eyes on the project as well. I think as a council, we have confidence in the ability of kids and athletes help us through a lot of our projects, and but they are the co-engineers here. So they also are putting their set of eyes on this well. Kids and Merrimack does have the main branch is in Grand Rapids. You know, they are familiar with Redstone and so we have done some, you know, background checks, you know, but we want to put our eyes on to make sure, you know, get with that craftsmanship, so it's just so we know what we can do or not.
I just want to go back really quick to your comments that talking to the public admin council member is treading on thin ice. I don't understand. When I look at like my role, like when you bring up the thing on our website that talks about our role as council members, it encourages you to go and speak to the public about things that are happening within the village.
But when you're going and setting up meetings and you're identifying yourself as a council member and you are doing that and talking to the parties involved, I think Mr. Fish can tell you how he was similar when you go home and you identify yourself as one of them. If you could push it,
I went to the county commissioners meeting and public comment. So I stood up and I said, I'm Dan Bishop, village president. And they used that intensely to recall. Because I identified myself as the village president, therefore I was representing the whole county. And that wasn't what I was doing, but that's how it worked out. That doesn't matter anymore. They can recall you just because you don't like the color of your hair or if you don't have any hair.
That's the lack.
It's gonna look on the truth. I didn't say I was representing the council in this.
Right, but by saying you're on the council, you're basically representing the council.
Okay.
So I'm on the council, but I'm not representing the council. Those you have to actually.
Right, oh, that was right, my, where,
You might point out that at that time, we were working with the attorney general's office and they told me what to do, that I didn't have the money to hire an attorney. That's why I went to the county, thinking they would be very happy, but they didn't know what I was talking about. They're totally ignorant and they're still ignorant to this day. It was about tax increment financing. And remember, the lady from the, Kim, she comes here from the county commissioners and she said, they're not in favor of any more TIP plans. Well, the whole state of Michigan, all the county, there's organizations, I've told you that before. There's the Association of Townships, the Township Association. Ours is a Michigan Municipal League, but the counties is MAC, Michigan Association of Counties. They got organized and went to the state legislature and got those TIP plans changed. There have been 2 requests here to our county. St. Helena and Roscommon Township, they want a TIP plan like we have. And we can't afford it, so they deny it. So this guy here from Red Line wants the Roscommon, he was talking that one time he visited us about a TIP plan, getting these houses so they don't have to pay property taxes on them. You pay for that.
There will be, and I talked about that too, there will be a TIP plan presented. What you're talking about, TIP plans is related to the DDA, I believe.
Yes.
And so that's separate. That's a different type of tax increment financing versus like the project basis. Because the difference, the DDA is obviously like municipality wide. So that's why there's been some controversy over DDA TIP plans, which we still have, but the TIP plan for this that will get presented in project based. And we have talked with the county and they are in support of it. Our brownfield authority would be the ones that are shepherding that through, but it also needs to go through every municipal level. So here, Higgins, DDA, and the county. So we'll have more details on that soon.
Everybody else, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to everybody understands it. It was so good.
Is it possible? I don't know how thin people are with time. Is it possible to have more interaction with updates on social media for this? Like just little blips every so often, just because like there was the one, which was really good, very informative. And I know it's still out there for people to access, but I think just like the more we can put just the information out to people, the better. Like it just
There hasn't been any like new information really, and then the holidays. So that's sort of why the time lapse, not defending it. We can put when there's like kind of new updates or these other things we can. Yeah, we can do that when there's a hearing coming up.
Afterwards.
Water zero. No, shit, this is kind of close.
So really, and you look to they don't have, because that's it, you guys don't have like, right?
No.
Like, you need, like,
Yeah, they're working on they're called the pro forma, they're working on that now. So they've gotten the costing, they have like, the two kind of budget, and then what we talked about last week was, a couple of things to clarify with like the grant, and so they have that, and it's clarified, and then like was passing to their numbers people, and then they're starting to like break it all down into, so that's what they would have that, yeah, and that needs to be part of like the chip plan and everything too, so that's what we're trying to get to, is like that level of granularity.
And haven't you put out on social media that if anybody has questions, they can come to you?
yeah,
Put that out there.
yeah, that's like, just kind of not in the, like we do with Shamrock Drop, just keep talking in their face.
Yeah, another issue, I hope it isn't, but. That road, the county road that runs along Ross Creek behind our property. Okay, I'm concerned about pollution back there. And is there going to be a fence or something? Those people that they can, there could be umpteen roads, there could umpteen accesses to that road of people driving through it. Unless there's something to prevent them from doing. Steve, a fence, it could be a tree line. Yeah, it's a new track, but it could be counter or it comes out of the ground. I rode my bike across.
There's gotta be a buffer zone.
Yeah.
On that property, because we own up to that line of that property. From that property on is DR, so there has to be a buffer zone somewhere put in there to protect the water. Right, and that's like.
Are you talking?
Yeah, some buffer zone or.
Yeah, they're right here, it's called single family home lot. Right there. I mentioned retention basin will be the other thing that's. Here's the pressure, right?
Yeah.
So. And then the top, and then the pump, and then you sort of plug.
More like that, sure. There'll probably some vinyl fencing put up or something like that, that's what I'm going to do, so. So I think that just pour a wooden fence, because every one of them, maybe they got a private area, maybe they want to enter their property from that too, instead of coming in off MHG. I mean, things.
But that's
I thought it
the
was
owner's decision. Yeah. It's your decision whether you want to fence your backyard or not. You know, and we don't own that property, and so pay the property owners.
Well, we do now, we own it now, and I'm just thinking it could be a stipulation. I mean.
These are all things we can bring up at that.
right, and I'll note that one. 'Cause I don't think we talked about that at all. I mean, I don't know that they've gotten that far.
Discussing the planning commission and all, so. Yeah, well, what our concerns are, what the concerns are.
Yeah,
Any more questions for Amanda on the Redstone up? If not, we're gonna move right into the brownfield. Redevelopment grant proposal.
so me, this is the corner property. You go to Lake Street. So we've been working with Eagle. They have been a fantastic partner with us, helping us get to that grant I talked about somewhere around. Well, here's why I've given you guys this proposal. Is we need to get detailed costing on exactly how much they had it estimated somewhere around $500,000. But the next step in the process, how this goes, is Atwell Navi, who's been involved and who the developer has indicated they want to continue with as the technical consultant. They've been doing all of the testing, they're familiar with the site, they've been doing all the testing to date. The next step is that we need them to put together what's called the project proposal, and so that will have all the costings, that tells us how much the grant will cost. It will outline basically all the things that they need to do. That needs to go to Eagle, and Eagle reviews it and then invites the village to apply for that grant. And then we need to apply, there's some like submittals that the Apple Navi or the technical consultant would put together. And then, and I'd be helping with the other side, the village portion of the application, which then gets submitted, and then Eagle would approve that grant. What they would approve that grant. They've been working closely with us on. So this contract that you have in front of you is to have the village hire Apple Mavi for $5,000 to put together that proposal and the application submittals. And that needs to happen to keep the project moving forward. Right now, we're paused at this step until we can get that in place and get them going on that. We can't move forward in that timeline and process. So I am here asking for you can take a look at this and either we can motion to approve or to authorize Ron to follow up and finalize the contract. I guess that's what I'm looking for your guidance and questions.
I have a question with the grant. Will the grant cover everything?
It will, yeah, it will cover everything except for this $5,000. This is sort of like, we consider this part like the match. Yeah, like our investment, like we want to see this go forward, but then the grant covers the whole remediation, which would be like a big soil dig.
So if it was like $600,000, it would still be covered.
Yeah, it's up to $1 million is what they cover for the grant.
All right, thank you.
When we had this done at 801, we had to put like this some money up front for some preliminary fencing and stuff like that, and then the grade covered everything else. So let's just say in this phase that they find additional soil contamination or something, they cover that. It's kind of like an insurance policy, you know, we're not being a little bit, but it's gonna protect it in the wall.
Owns that property. He's the village own that?
No, well, no. You know, it's like 802 Lake Street Holdings owns it. So what happens is Brownfield is, Emily Barber is the developer, before develop. So before the sale of the property, you need to go through remediation because we know that there's contamination there. And so as part of the transition of the property from that LLC over to her, that you have to clean it up essentially.
Why is that our responsibility?
So Eagle, basically how like these state grants work is local government is like the financial responsible party. And so any grant stuff has to flow through here. And this portion in particular, putting this down is a portion that they need to see as a financial match, financial contribution by the local unit of government to show buy-in for the project to progress. So they have that as a stipulation as one of the things we need on the application.
So we could.
To show that we are supporting it.
Okay, so we couldn't ask for an owner to pay this $5,000.
No, that is an option. That is an option, but then there would be some other financial portion that the village would need to chip in as part of the application. So this just covers it from kind of a clean perspective, but there's an option to say, no, developer, you pay this portion, we'll contribute a different way.
Have ever reviewed an insurance check with the current owner, or past thing? Is that something?
Yes, I've been talking with them. This is the way that Eagle has recommended it as well, that they've seen this happen a lot, especially with smaller developers, as this one is. Kind of customary, but for local government to say, hey, we're gonna help you up front, we'll show our ability to move it through. Certainly that is also an option to ask for that. So no, actually, we'll contribute financially in a different way. It's not like a minimum, it's just a show.
It's a show.
This is the way that things.
This is the way it showed us here.
Oh, sure.
We're supposed to support that business being built. That's what we're showing, say, we want that business here in town, we want that to come in town. It's our insurance, say that, yeah, we're back at it. And also the brownfield, when it comes from a governmental standard compared to an investor, it goes a little bit quicker. So my understanding of the brownfield grant, they get it in a little quicker than thought. Instead of taking 2 or 3 months, it may take 2 weeks. So it doesn't slow down the project at all.
Just to verify, this is where we can keep it.
Yes. It was, yeah, so you don't bounce, bounce.
When you talk to Eagle, or the village of Roscommon, they said on our map it's like a big red dot. Because there used to be so many gas stations in Bulls area that had a very little record of had the case been removed and had, you know, and stuff like this. When we were going through the, A801, where the butcher shop and the butcher 45th center, I tried to see if we could get Brownfield to do the whole village. You know, since that's their concern, and I said, no, we have to go kind of lot by lot. The one thing about this, that this is done, let's just say something happens to this product, doesn't, you know, materialize. At least we can market it as, hey, this paint has been tested, because that's a big selling point, because if you have someone off the street wanting to do this, not knowing if they have to put that money up front, you know, this, for $5,000, it would be a pretty, cheap way to at least market this in the long run, or see it through. But we spent, and boy, I wish I had that number, but it was at least that amount. I want to say, if not that amount, when we did the property across the street. Individuals cannot apply for a brownfield. It has to go through the municipality. So this is where we have to have some type of hold on this, saying that we're aware of this. We approve this, and we're willing to contribute to the cleanup of any damage.
And I will say too, like we talked before about the Grayling guy for 7 years or however long, but and so we're at the project proposal phase, that where they cost it out, so we know how much the grant will cost. When we go to application, as part of that, there'll be a development agreement that will stipulate like the number of years and the different responsibilities and all that. So that will come before you guys, before we submit the application.
So if you remember, you know, Pioneer Pharmacy building, that there was some contamination there. That building was sold. What pharmacy? Pioneer, down my friend. Oh, yeah. And then ended up being that sold back to the company that sat for like almost 2-3 years before they ever sold it again. Because they didn't go through the right procedure or whatnot anyway. Well, so this is what helps out with this brownfield grant. So we can have control over when we know in our village is what's good and what's not good. So I think it's always a good thing to know what is available or not.
And the dry cleaning spill,
Yeah.
dry cleaning solution, that's, well, so dry cleaning.
So I mean, there's,
You know, way more history than I.
no,
I'm just wondering, I mean, to me, it seems like the owner should pay that 5,000. I know we have to contribute at some point, but it just, I don't know, it makes sense to me to have the owner of that property pay the 5,000.
I mean, yeah, we don't know what the later amount of money is if we have to invest in. So
But you said there's no minimum of it, you just have to show that you're in support of it. There's no minimum we have to put forward. No, I mean, technically, we don't even have to put the 5,000, it's required.
Nope.
Or even half, well, pay half, you pay half.
You could say that you could do that too.
I just feel like owner of the property should be putting something towards it.
So it's given a thought.
I wonder if that lot that it would be.
I think the skin of the thought is they're almost a $1.5 million distance, and that's their skin. I think. Well, atmosphere of our village of Roscommon. You're buying into our bill.
For 2,500. We'll deal with that, brownfield all the time, and they're telling us that that's what is recommended. It seems like we should go with the recommendation that we want this to go through in the timely manner and everything. And so I can say it if they can know.
I'd like to entertain a motion at this point. Moving forward. So may I have a motion to approve to pay the $5,000 for the brownstone grant process?
Brownfield,
Oh,
you're not going with the brownfield.
I know the brown, the red, the stone.
okay. Better go.
Motion to go ahead with the brownfield redevelopment grant proposal. Is there another word I need to add to that?
Nope.
I have a
I have a first, may I get a second, please?
Second that.
I got a first, second, any discussion?
So are we saying if we move forward, we're paying the $5,000?
the contract out. Oh, number law, right?
Then we should, something to put Ron in charge. administer it, right?
So it's gonna have to be that if you guys are approving it now, then we can use that. So great,
So,
so just be as presented.
okay, I get a first and second, any more discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Edwards.
Yeah.
Buckle,
Yes.
Fischel,
Yes.
Schmacko,
No,
right,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
pass.
I might point out, I was just sitting here thinking about the gas station. From the traffic light up to that hotel, there was like 9 different gas stations. They go all their 100 years.
Thank you, Amanda.
So now,
I mean, yeah.
Okay, next item is authorization of village manager contract, Otwell Mullen for 82 Lake Street project as a technical consultant.
no,
But don't we have to approve your contract? You haven't got the contract, but you want. Same thing.
same thing, have a good sir.
I'm double checking my notes here. You're fine. Village of Roscommon zoning and building permit fees.
You can blame me on my age, and I apologize, but last month when you approved the building and zoning fees, I had the wrong form. And so therefore I put out on this form, like today's date and there, as a reminder, but anyway, what happened is on the old form, there was some double numbers, so we cleaned it up. We didn't change everything per se, but cleaned it up and through our RRC, we need to approve this annually. So, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the zoning and building permit fees that's effective January 12th, 2026.
I'll make the motion to approve the January 12th, 2026 Village of Roscommon zoning and permit building fees as written.
I'll second it. Yeah, for a second, any discussion? If none. Roll call.
Ludwig.
Yep.
Miller.
Yep.
Ready.
Yes.
Fischel,
Yeah.
Schmacko,
Yes.
Okay, the next item is the 2025 budget summary, Mr. Alden.
Okay, I told you that I would have end of the year synopsis, kind of how we ended up in 2025. And if you recall, we passed a budget that was started off as $394,000 in the red. And so we're allowed to do that as long as we have monies to cover the balance. So if you, Mike, when I need your, my God, slow down. I mean, ladies. In the left-hand column, you see what we actually what we do guys close. This is the area that you guys said that's the budget we're gonna go on. As of this net date's wrong, it should be 12/31, but as of end of the year, these are the actual numbers, okay? These numbers you say, wow, we're way off on those. Well, we weren't sure what kind of grant money we're gonna still have to be out there with a couple of projects still opened up. So we inflated these numbers a bit just to make sure we had enough money to cover projects. But the actual numbers, what we ended up, what was here now, you'll see there's almost $90,000. Pretty good that we can now 101. And if you remember, your really one account is the one that encompasses everything. So I give ourselves a good grade on a 101. It's good. Last year we were about $40,000 in the black, so we actually are sitting here, with a good account for this year. Just kind of compare it a little bit. We've already said next year revenue, we're gonna bring in 526,000. and we're gonna spend 847,000. And just kind of compare as far as where we're at. Okay, so we didn't quite spend that, but we brought in a lot more. That's to check how we handle our budget. We keep our revenue a little more. The worst case scenario, we know we could survive with that number. And then our expenses are a little bit higher because we know that we won't do all of that. Then those numbers can offset. So you go through major streets, look at that, we put a little money in the bank there. Local streets, wow, we missed it by, $50,000. Well, we did a lot of sidewalks last year, and so that's out of that account there. Scrolling down here, sewer. Okay, we spent more than we took in, about $15,000 off. Well, in that sewer, when we did that $75,000 project there in Nelson Park, to put sewer through there, we had to spend a little more sewer. A lot of times has more connections and things that it costs. Sewer will cost you more to operate than water though. If you look at the water, well, we made some money. We made about $20,000 here, and we lost, 15 or so $1,000 here. So that kind of balanced out a bit. And the whole thing, can you scroll down, Mike? This is our actual revenue for this last year. Your budget is not set up by your revenue number. It's set up by your expenditure number, appropriations. This is the actual budget that we went through. The difference, we were $191,000 to the good. Okay. Now, before we start saying we're rich, well, this money is spread out over all those different accounts. So if I have money in our local roads and I need a piece of equipment, I can't take money out of the local roads and put it in equipment. You got to spend it within that area. So this money here is dispersed, but what makes me feel good is a good chunk of that money is going back into our 101. We spent a lot of money in our 101 for the high water project and getting some of these things done. So we kind of paid ourselves back in there. Now, remember that $394,000 when we started off and said we're gonna be in we made that up plus $191,000. So $584,000 we swung that budget over the years. That's good planning on your behalf. It's keep an eye on the total. I think it's important that 2-3 times a year we share it there, we get our eyes all on it. We're trying to look at that budget to make sure that we're not, that's to say if we're grossly overdrawing somewhere, we don't want to find out in December. We want to know throughout the year. So that's why we keep a tab in. Any questions on that? Does it make sense, I guess?
Yeah.
So good job, you guys.
Good job keeping us on track of what's going on in the budget.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes it a lot more easier to look at and figure out what we're doing wrong and doing right. Okay. Next, any more questions on the budget this summer? If not, we'll move on to new business. Water and sewer rates for 2026.
Okay, that's all. Unfortunately, every year until 2036 or 2038,
2036.
we have to, if we want to maintain the coverage to maintain our system, our water, we have to raise that by 3% every year, and our sewer by 1.75 every year. So having done so, the rates that I put in front of you here, the base rate, the usage fee, the outer village, all those went up 3%. The sewer, all of those categories went up 1.75. Let me see back here. Yeah. Right. That kind of explains kind of what we have to do. And that will take effect, for this year. Now you might say, well, look, we're already in January, you can't pass that now. In January, the water bills that you pay is for December. So this here is this one step further, but this is nothing different that you have done in the last 15 years. And is this the same scenario goes year after year? In the increase is good, and then the water rates will keep changing every year ahead.
Is it supposed to say 21,700? or?
It is, that's confusing,
Okay, it says on the meter. What's it?
you know.
So, what about meters?
Oh,
Can we look at that right?
That's the first rate right there.
the unmetered, this is saying if we have someone wants to fill a swimming pool or something like that, and they say we need X number of gallons of water, you know. They may have a tub that we just fill up. We don't necessarily run it through a meter for a real accurate, you know, kind of stuff. If they say my tub will hold 500 gallons, and we'll just go with that. But the unmetered accounts takes care of stuff like that. The only time we really use that is like the road commission or some group might be doing some work in the area, not necessarily in the village, and they need water to either for their work that they have to do there. I know a lot of times with the pavement, they'll need water to keep things cool and certain temperature and such. So they'll call us up and say, hey, can we use some water? And we'll hook them up with put it right somewhere to get it loaded up. But it could be a pool, it could be a lot of different things, but that's kind of what's characterized as they're unmetered. It's not really an account, it's just something that we just use sweep them or
Should sweep the streets, main streets in town. Maybe water, clean out the here,
I was to say. We have water and sewer. People out in the village, yeah, we don't.
we do. When you look at 7th Street, by Wallace Park there, where it turns the corner on Grove Street. If you go straight, that little trail there, that's out of the village. Those places have the water and sewer. The hotel right outside of town there, a couple years ago, we did that. We have a lot of information.
Down Main Street, what's that called, North Central Drive. There's out of village people way up in there with that water, there's all the groundwater. Which was there.
So I know I'm not lying here, because, but I don't want this to go away. I want to ask a question. So we get our base fee, the 16 plus,
Your base fee is 45.6 dollars.
I would see that, it's very different.
That's a base fee.
So that is a combination of. Water, and sewer. And then. Then the $8 for the 2,000. And then it will be like 14. Because it's not 1,000 gallons, you're taking in 2,000, you're putting out 2,000.
The base fee covers this number and that number equates to that, okay? Now your water usage is anything over 2,000 gallons. Then we start charging you at a rate, $8 fee. It's not per gallon. What is that, Fran? It's per thousand over 2,000, and then the usage fee here is just under $7 per 1,000 gallons too. That you go.
So,
44, 64 or something.
if I don't do anything, you're gonna out for the
I'm
gallon.
gonna go up to 45, 61, so that's not even that much.
No. Mine never seems to be that, so I want to make sure you get it. Okay.
Till it comes out to
Water.
We had a meeting here 20 years ago now with I remember him sitting out here in the middle of that fourth and where he was an expert on finances. I don't know who sent him here, where we got him, but we had to raise the rates a lot because previous village council, they want to raise the
I
rate.
know.
And on the cross, if I want to raise the rates, they don't want to look bad to their constituents, but what this man pointed out is there's this cost of living every year things go up. And we trust that well, you know from your own home. So we had to raise our rates
Yeah.
I mean, like 12% or 5,000. I mean, I think it's balance.
Please some bad records.
But they're doing our water to be taxed.
Like, cash,
30.
I want to say, if it's a 30 through 2036 or 2038.
Oh, it's 36.
I really have 38, but it should be.
But then those rates were going up with calculations every year, like a couple of percentage points or, until we got it going. It was years since there'd been a rate hike.
So just to bring an update. So what this monthly rate schedule also pays for, you don't think about it, but if our lagoon goes down, we're looking at 3.4, 3.5 million dollars put in that. We don't have that in our budget now. So this helps out down the road. It also helps out for grants and everything else down the road if we keep on this schedule to help us keep going down the road. I mean, it's just like our maintenance. Technically, what it really comes down to. So it's something we gotta do. It's not something we want to do, but
And since years ago, this study was done and said that this is what we need to do, we have had 2 additional water studies that both complement that we're on the right track to keep it up. So it's something that we have to want to start done from time to time, just to make sure that nothing's changed.
I think we were in arrears with our loan. We couldn't make payments, if Fran may remember that. We couldn't make payments because we were charging enough to our water and sewer users, so I'm still probably going on.
so
motion to approve the 2026 water rate increase of 3% and the sewer rate increase of 1.75%.
We all said that.
thank you. All right, first and second, any more discussion? If not, roll call please.
Right.
Yes.
Edward?
Yeah.
Pickle?
Yeah.
Ludwig?
Yep.
Miller?
Yeah.
Swindle?
Okay, next item is audit date.
Just to let you know, first week of February, the week of February 2nd, that's when our village audit's going to be done. They also will, during that week, audit, Alberta and our DDA. So, if you come in here that week and we tend to have our full piece on, that's it, because we're going through a audit first. So just, give you a little FYI.
Okay. Next item will be the DDA vacant nomination.
Okay, DDA board, Mike Walker Senior had stepped down. Mike had told us that his son, Michael Jr., was interested in applying for that position. We posted it in the paper for 2 weeks and had one response, Michael Walker Jr. And so he would be my recommendation that the council approves him for a DDA. Yes, sir.
Yep.
It's not nice, yeah, you took on business, responsibility, wherever this is. I probably don't even know.
Yeah, we're graduate, I'm a local graduate. He graduated from our school.
Think we need a motion.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Well, I think the president starts these motions, not the council.
Well, the first thing you
It's not working on his study. But you guys all seem to jump ahead of me every time. Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to be questions, you can step right up with this. Personal shelf.
Sorry,
Like to make the motion for the DDA now. There's a term that runs until December 2029.
Major.
I made the motion. I made the motion. I got a first, a second, any more discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Next item. Do I want to jump on that one? MACC grant. Grant amount for $5,000 for the Michigan Arts and Cultural Council. Amanda.
Okay. So Michigan Arts Council. So they do an annual grant cycle. We're waiting patiently for the budget and everything to get sorted. Figure out what's happening and when it was happening, it came out and it's due at the end of the month, January 22nd. So actually, it's there. So this grant is $20,000, funding that would be received. There's a $5,000 match required. And so what we were thinking, and actually, put a feedback on this, but the thought was, the project can cover, or the grant can cover, project support for like, it's called like experience grant. And so it can cover things like Rocktoberfest. And so I know we talked about, I believe that maybe the last meeting or two before, that Rocktoberfest might be going out and forming its own nonprofit. Under these grant guidelines, it wouldn't qualify as one standalone this next round because it needs to have been like an established entity. So if Rocktoberfest is kept under the village as it has been in the past for this year, we can write in for Rocktoberfest and with the $20,000 grant plus $100,000, that's a majority of the budget. I think last year's budget was about $33,000 maybe, if I'm not mistaken. And just a reminder that Rocktoberfest, the reason I thought that might be a good one, the majority of the fundraising comes from local businesses who have been contributing year after year after year. And so we thought that this one might be a good opportunity to give a break to that and write in for this grant and see if we can't get a whole chunk of that covered through this. So we would find out in March if that is the case. We were successful with the grant, but we need to see for more money, $5,000 more dollars for that match. If that's something you want to do. The other thing that it could be used for would be like the DDA had done there, the public art mural, and so it can cover art mural programs such as that as well. But as a reminder, we can share this with you maybe in October. But our top rated initiatives from the Public Art Committee were Music in the Village, the mural program, and the painted streets and crosswalks. Those are the top three initiatives people wanted to see in 2026. So that's also why we're suggesting for Oktoberfest first, and then just throwing it out there. The mural, if you're with the council, thought maybe we should do that instead, we could also consider but again, funding's our first room. Open to comments or questions otherwise as well.
Okay. Wait a minute, you gotta start the process right.
Lead us, sir.
May I get a motion to do approval of match amount of $5,000 for the MACC grant experience?
I make the motion to approve the match of $5,000 for the MACC experience support grant.
I have a first, may I get a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a first and a second, now discussion maybe, yeah.
So are you saying, so if we approve this 5,000 and you apply for the grant and you get the grant, it's not necessarily going to go to Rocktoberfest. At that point, you would then, or do you have to write it for Rocktoberfest for the public?
So we write it in now for whichever one we want to go. I guess I'm bringing up the option just to get comments and thoughts from the council, because we can kind of write it with points whichever direction. We only write it one way, and so we'll know which way tonight that we're gonna write it.
I mean, I love, I think it's a great festival. I just would like to see this money go towards public art. I personally would like to see it go more towards public art. Forward.
Okay, so we talked about Rocktoberfest going over to Rara, or its own
Yeah,
so we wouldn't be able to do that this year then. That would have to happen next year.
yeah, they could prepare stuff and everything, so that they're becoming, but then for Oktoberfest, it's sit under the village still, as it has been for town development. Budget, product budget. It would stay like that, how it has been this year, while we're getting everything set up.
Only so
to become its own entity eventually.
only to be able to get this grant, right, like that. So if the grant didn't go to Rocktoberfest, they could then still continue with making themselves their own nonprofit.
Yeah, exactly.
They'd stay under the village just so they get access to the grant.
Yep. One thing I did get clarification on muddy the waters too much. We're taking up a lot of time, but I want to make sure, just to get your input on this too. One other thing that the, MEDC who's running this grant told me is that if the PDA and the village share the same EIN number, then you can run it again, like for a portion to cover both. So both is also an option for like the mural grant and Oktoberfest and like split the funds or whatnot, so.
That sounds good too.
I love culture and the art. I love everything. But I'm a little concerned about the merchants every year, trying about for fundraising, how long they can sustain that, so.
Just to let you know, take, $20,000. If we were to take $5,000 of that and put it towards, we're on that room, probably $10,000 this year, that pay for half, okay. The Oktoberfest budget is like $30,000, that pay for half of it, you know, so, so if you would, definitely benefit each one to take a little stress off of the EDA, if you want back up for another or sculpture or something. So I think, you know, it's worthwhile brand. I think it was something I think either way would benefit this village here.
In, I think, DDA minutes, mention of a, is it called a Sherman project park? Like, where?
That's one, between by memory lane, that's where. Like, with the, in between the dams and the memory lane.
Yeah, it's venture and little park. They tore it down, and so they just made a pocket for it.
Would that be somewhere that, like a mural? I don't know the areas, I think it's our place for like a mural like that.
Yeah, there's one of that kind, yeah. Millions on the wall, which is running.
Ran the mural program last year was we solicited, location applications to figure out who wanted a mural on their building. And so we probably do that again so that we can figure out, there's a couple of people who have expressed interest, but through the process, we would, select that location. And then the mural, cover for cards commissioning for the mural would, up to $10,000. Was what we did last year, it doesn't have to be that same amount. With a smaller location, increase plus cost, so. But we could split it like 15 to 5 or 15 to 10 with the match, so you get up to 25, so you could do that.
Yeah, that might be,
Or
that seems to be the best option.
We have a motion on the table. Wait for a second. Roll call, please.
Right, like just assume. With the motion, we don't have to specify, like,
Where are they gonna use it?
yeah, right, you're gonna specify that.
you don't have,
in
yeah, you don't have to, I'll take your input though, and then I can sharp these up.
the- So it doesn't have.
We just need the approval for the match,
Yeah, okay.
the match to be able to apply.
Okay. Once again, we have a motion on the table. First and second. Roll call, please.
Edwards.
Yeah.
Lovell.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Smacker.
Yes.
Ritter.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes. Okay, next item is manager's contract. And Ron has asked to go into closed session with this. So may I get a motion to go into closed session?
Make a motion to go into closed session.
I have a first, maybe a second.
That's something.
I got a first, second. Any discussion? All in favor of approval? Aye. Motion passed at 8:24. Closed session. Thank you guys for all coming. Please come back next month. Sorry, to kick you out.
That's why I'm talk to you.
Yeah, okay.
Something that's. So I see, you know, all these towns, nation, when I want, and you know, it's here.
Okay.
He's got a service, what? At least they start looking a little sad.